So it helps to press record. I just went on for about 10 minutes and then I realized I wasn't recording a thing. That's okay. I got a nice dress rehearsal there. So today is Thursday the 8th when I'm recording this. It doesn't really matter when you're watching it. The information here is timeless and could be applied really at any time. So in my last video, I talked about how I use some very specific prompts to tell the IA to stay on path, to not allow me to go down rabbit holes and take me off course from what's getting me towards my goal. I'm going to put that down below. It won't be in the description because the YouTube says that I think my podcast has to be around for a lot longer before it's going to let me put in clickable links, is what it tells me, and that's fine. So I'll put it down in the very next comment. I'll comment under my own description, pin it, and you can see the link there that it's the same as last week. If you subscribe in there, it just dumps you into my email list. If you're already in my email list, that's fine. It's not gonna you're not gonna get duplicate and triplicate. It just says, oh, you're already in there. It flags it, and so great, you're already in there. But then you'll get the PDF sent to you that has these prompts. And what the prompts did is they stopped the AI that I'm using. I'm over 40. I use ChatGPT. I'm learning a lot of the new ones. And it doesn't really matter what you use as long as it's working for you. But the challenge is a lot of the UAs, probably all of them at the date of this recording, they're basically like Google. They're very much like Google. They have access to the entire internet. They compile all that information in a fraction of a second, and then they give you what they think, according to algorithms, what is the best answer for whatever your question is. But there's one example. If you say, what is the best financial advice for this situation? It's going to collect, and you don't give it any other parameters, it will give you the same advice it'll take the advice that a financial planner might give you, combined with the math advice of a kindergarten teacher, because you didn't give it any particular parameters to stick within. And so that's why you can get information that's not very helpful, because one, we have to be very specific, and as far as how we want it to act, and two, we want to make sure if we're doing some critical thinking with it, that it doesn't just agree with every idea. And that's what the Guardrails did. They said, okay, don't just agree with everything I say. I want you to XYZ, and the prompts are pretty awesome. I got them from another course that I've taken. If you want to know what that is, email me and I'll tell you what that particular course is. It's not in the prompts. I don't have a link or a license to share that, but I'll share it one-on-one. So once I got the AI to stop taking me off course whenever I came up with a different idea, and it could say, nope, that's a great idea for later, or nope, that doesn't align with your core values that you've already stated, or yes, but let's do that, and let's be careful, and let's do it very surgically, and let's do it this way so that you don't burn up a lot of time and money and effort and go off track. And it's worked beautifully. And now, instead of recreating content for literally the last 2 years, which is what I've been doing before, as I've been learning how AI works just from practice, I was able to narrow down my next course and build it in essentially a day. I did it in 4 hour increments over 2 days, so 8 hours. So if you consider 8 hours being a work day, I did it in a day, or I did it in 2 days if you want to be accurate, which is still better than 2 years and not having something complete. That'll be ready soon, and when it is, I'll put a link down here in one of my YouTube videos that gives the link to that course. There's going to be an exceptional bonus for those who jump on early. They'll get a one-time lifetime access price that's going to be lower, probably half of what it's going to be offered in the future as I build it out. So this is also a beta test. It's going to be a full version, but there's going to be more added to it, which is also why the cost will go up in the future. And right now, it's the minimum viable course to get from end to end on this particular goal that I'm teaching. The next concept I wanted to talk about, it's 8 days past New Year's. A lot of people are real excited about their New Year's resolutions, which are all great and fantastic. I don't set New Year's resolutions because every day for me is New Year's. What I mean by that is every day is the first day of the rest of my life. That's a very famous quote, and it's not just cliche. I live that. I look at when I come down, I have planned, first of all, I have planned for every day could be the last day of my entire life. So I have end of life planning and life insurance and the necessary things that will go on to make sure that my family is taken care of if I suddenly move on to the next phase of life and I leave this world. But two, I could live for, who knows, another 50 years for all I know. So I've planned for not the worst, because I don't think it'd be the worst if I die, but I've planned for that. I have a contingency in place. And I live every day as if this is the first day of the next 50 years of my life. What am I going to do? And there's also legacy. When I leave, I want to have some things that keep going on after I'm long gone that help benefit mankind. So every day I'm focused on whatever my particular goal is at the time. Right now, it's launching my course, and New Year's resolutions. Like I said, I don't really go with them. Goals are great. Actually, this course is really great if you have suffered with New Year's resolutions and you fall off and then you feel bad because you didn't do them, or you set goals and you often miss them, and you've done all of the training of how to do all these different things that help you meet your goals and it's still not working. This course is going to be perfectly exactly for you, because this gets at some underpinned self-sabotage programs that may be running, how to find them. They're not all the same. Everybody has their own different self-sabotage programs, and they're hard to find. They're very good at hiding, and it's not about punishing yourself or being hard on yourself. It's actually it's upside down from how most other programs will teach how to do better and work harder and press harder and all these different mechanisms that will get you towards your goal. And if those work, great. And if they don't work, this might be exactly what you're missing, because it was for me. I pushed for decades and decades, literally decades. And until I was able to find out what programs were silently running in the background that were set up long ago, they had a purpose, but they no longer serve a purpose, and they just run constantly until we identify them and we reprogram them. And so this course is all about that, how to identify them, how to do it without pressure and guilt, and then and then there's some material that comes after that tell you, okay, this is what you can do going forward. Then after a while, you'll be able to move through all of the stages very, very quickly. But in the beginning, it goes out over 7 days, and then there's an extra. It's not on the ad. It's sold as a 7-day package, but it's actually a 14-day package, because I want to undersell and over deliver. So the other 7 days, the first 7 days are about the clarity, how to find out what's program is running, and then the other 7 days are going to be about some techniques on how to gently and permanently start to redesign those programs so that they work for you instead of against you. So that's what I am working on. I finished it in 8 hours, 2 days, or one work day if you like, split over 2 days. And so my next thought is why coaching matters. Well, so for example, you may or may not need a coach, and if you don't, that's great. If you do, there's benefits to it. And a coach can be a lot of different things. I would caution you against using AI as your coach, because unless you really set it up very specifically to follow a very specific coach that has an enormous amount of material online and reliable background, that it's going to be tricky. And even then, it may still get polluted information in its search algorithm and then take you off course. And it's not going to do the same as a human a lot of times. What a human can do in coaching, it can see your blind spots. AI is getting close, but it can't always see your blind spots. A person can see the questions that you're asking that aren't the right questions and the questions that you should be asking. AI can do a little bit of that. A very good coach can do a lot better with that. A coach can help you get from it just shrinks the learning process. Without a coach, you can learn anything really you want. It just takes a lot longer, and you may also pick up some what you might call bad habits along the way that you'll later have to undo or work around. With a coach, you shrink the time to get to your end goal of whatever it is you're trying to learn or do, and you bypass going through some of those bad habits that you might otherwise do if you do it all by yourself. Okay, so I said a lot of you in there. That's definitely true coming from when I have done my own coaching. I can do a certain level of coaching that's great because it just depends on what I'm trying to do. If I'm working through blind spots, working through especially new areas that are different and new to me, and I'm not doing it with a coach, I either accept that it's going to take me longer to get there because I'm do it myself, which is fine. That's where courses and books are fantastic. They can still help you shortcut. But if you're using courses and books and they're still not getting you to your end result that you want either quickly or at all, then you might consider looking for a coach that's going to help you, a person that's going to help you diagnose. That's not really the best word because whatever. A coach that's going to help you find your blind spots, teach you to ask better questions, and help you find out, maybe different paths you're going on that are not going to get you to the end result that you're really looking for. So that's why coaching matters. And so I was my own bottleneck before I got these guardrails put on place. And once I got the guardrails on my AI put on, it even said, I asked it some question. I don't even remember what the question was. And it said, no, your problem is not that. Your problem is speed of execution and what was the other one? Oh, and consistency in publishing content. This YouTube video, which I've known for years to do and I've not done. I would do one or two and then fall off the habit, or all kinds of different stuff. And I would push harder and it wasn't working. And so really I've used my own methods that I teach in this course that's about to be released to go from I said I was going to do it in 2025 and I released only a handful of videos. And I said I was going to do it the year before and only released a handful of videos. And I'm only 2 days in, granted, in the new year in these videos. But now I'm on a path and I've got reminders, which actually I'm going to set up some other reminders because I almost forgot today for my videos. So I'm going to be releasing videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, ideally at 10 a.m. It might be a little off until I get some backup content that is ready, and then it can be scheduled to be released at those times. Right now, I'm recording and going, recording, releasing. And that's fine. I'm going to get ahead here very quickly. My goal is by next week. The reason I'm not putting a deadline on it is because my bigger commitment is getting this course that I'm working on to market. And as that comes to market, and then the advertising algorithm is doing its thing, that's going to be automatically 5 to 7 days or more before the advertising algorithms catch up and then my product gets in front of faces. So that's going to give me this great big spot of time where I can go and do a couple videos and also start working on some of the future content that will come out in the course. So getting the right prompt in there, I was able to figure out, I already knew that was a bottleneck, but it really and it probably was reading through my posts over the previous 2 years and the conversations that we've had, me and the chat GTP. That's probably why it came up with that, because it knows that we've talked about this strategy, and then it knows based on reading through it that I've not followed through. And that's why I said, no, this is your bottleneck, is your content and your speed to getting it out there, because every conversation would be timestamped, right? Had I had a coach, and it doesn't matter. It's as far as like what I should have done, because today is still the first day. The best day to plant a tree was 20 years ago. This is a Eastern philosophy proverb. So the best day was 20 years ago. The second best day is right now. So that's fine. I can't go back 20 years and plant that tree, or I can't go back last year and backdate all that content. I mean, you could actually go in there and try to backdate it, but the system knows it was actually released at the time that you release it. So it really doesn't do any good. And then actually it would violate some trust if you tried to get around and tell the system that, no, this was published a year ago, and it's going to know that you didn't, and then you're breaking trust. So that's not a great way to go. But my point was, today or now is the next best day than yesterday. We can't go back and fix yesterday, so do it now, right? And if you don't do it now, do it now. Do it the next time. There's a great, I had it somewhere and I'll find it. There's a great clip in the movie Spaceballs where they go to, and this is old, so they pull out the VHS of the movie and like, this is the VHS, this is the video of the movie. It's already been released before we finished recording it. And they're like, what? And then they catch up to now, and it's everything's in live time as it's happening right then. And the main characters, or not the main character, but one of the main characters is like, what's happening? And then this guy says, you're looking at now. What? Now? Now is now. Well, go back to then. We can't. Why? We passed it. When? Just now. And I'll find that. That's a hilarious video. It's just a short little video clip. But it really gets to it's just fun, but it's a good reminder of all we have is now. We can't go back to then. Every second is ticking. I have now. Well, now was in the past. And so I don't have that now ever again. It's in the past. I can only go to this now. Wait, that now just passed. Okay. Being a little comical, but the point really is, don't punish yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't go into negative thought processes. That just makes those self-sabotage programs get stronger and come back for most of us, and definitely did for me. So my course addresses how to evaluate those that are coming up, identify them, get clarity on them, and then, for lack of a better word, bonus. I'm not advertising it as a bonus, but it's more material than I'm advertised, so I guess you could call it a bonus. Then you have the additional week of some tools on how to get through. Now that you have clarity over the program, here's some different ways to get it so that it's not self-sabotaging you, or to get you so that you're not self-sabotaging you. So that's coming soon. For right now, I'll just reiterate the prompts that I used that got me to help to bring this course to completion here in a couple days. And by the way, the main reason I bought the course actually was not that I did about course creation. It was actually not about how to make the course. That was a happy bonus. It was actually about better ways to use AI, especially with video editing. And so unless I come back later and re-edit this with future tools, and I may, right now this is getting released as is, raw, as one of my friends says, boogers and all, Ty Tribble. It's just getting released as is, like it is, no edits, because I don't have time for that. I'm choosing not to take time for that, because right now I don't have the learning behind me of which AI is going to be able to knock it out in less than an hour. That's a path that I'm going to be learning later. Right now, I am dedicated to, I'm getting this course released. My goal really is this week or sooner to get it completed. In fact, today I want to have it completed and start testing it today and release it to some of my close friends as beta testers today, and then start the advertising algorithm today. So, and if it doesn't happen today, then my goal is definitely by tomorrow. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's not the right language. That's not definitive. Yes, I understand that. And for me and my purposes and the way that my self-sabotage programs work, that worked well for me. I am focused totally on this, and I'm not putting this solid deadline on myself where I'm going to feel bad if I miss it, because if something comes up in the next 2 minutes and it's an emergency and I'm going to go take care of it, I'm going to take care of it. And if this means that my course gets released tomorrow or the next day instead, I'm okay with that. It's still a priority. Oh, that reminds me. So our next one, we're going to talk about 4 quadrants that I learned from my dad, who learned it, I think, direct from Stephen Covey. It's in his book, 7 Habits. He has several books of 7 Habits. But I'm going to talk about my modified version of Stephen Covey's four quadrants, and I'll put that down. That'll be what we'll talk about in the next YouTube. Oh, good. I have something, and I may be able to pre-record it and have it ready to be released Tuesday. All right. Till then, see ya. Take care.